Hello there, my name's Joe and I'm the Programme Leader for Creative Media here at the college, and welcome to your Get Ready for College session. What we'll hopefully be able to bring you in the next few minutes or so is a better idea of what the course involves and some of the choices open to you, and we'll give you a little taster to what to expect on the course. Okay, so you made that decision, you're looking to study BTEC Creative Digital Media at Trafford College. Here's some of your choices and courses that are available to you. So you've got level 3 course in creative media production, all BTEC. You do need the entry requirements of 5 GCSEs or equivalent, of course, BTEC level 2 at grade 4 and above, and that does include maths and English. The level 3 courses offered by the Trafford College Group at their campuses, which is Altrincham and Stockport, are as follows. You've got BTEC Media Production Filmmaking, that's at Altrincham campus. You can do that alongside a couple of A levels as well. BTEC Media Practice, that's in Games Design, that's at Altrincham. You've got BTEC Media Practice Digital Content Creation, again that's at Altrincham. And BTEC Media Production, that's a bit of a mix of, you'll be doing some film, games, graphics and sound, and that's at the Stockport campus. And they're all the level 3 courses. If you don't quite get the grade you're expecting, then you do have the option of studying a level 2 with us and resitting perhaps your maths or English at GCSE to grade 4 and above. The entry requirement for level 2 is 4 GCSEs or equivalent at grade 3 and above. Level 2 programme is at both Altrincham and Stockport, and you'll do a little bit of video production, a little bit of games production, sound production and some animation as well. And the idea is a bit of a foundation year for you to have a go at a little bit of everything and try and work out maybe what you'd like to specialise in a little bit more onto the courses I just went through at level 3 and your second year. The staff, this is the team, that's myself, Joe Evans, I specialise in film production. You've got Steve Wheeler, who specialises a bit more in animation and some media theory and film theory. You've got David Maxwell, who's our games design and games production specialist. Mike McGinley, he does all kinds of things, graphics and photography and some visual effects stuff as well. You'll meet him on the digital content creation courses. And we've got our technician, Andrew Appleby, who's a bit shy, hence why he's not got a picture on there. Okay, I'd like to focus on the digital content creation pathway. This is on the creative media practice course, so slightly different to the creative media production. There are no external assessments, which I'll just remind you of in a moment, and it's really aligned to industry skills. So I'll give you an idea of the digital content creation pathway, but we do have a more specific games pathway as well. Just when I'm going through some of these notes, if you just think there will, for the games pathway, there's maybe less emphasis on things like animation and lens, and more focus on things like games design, games production, games engine, all those kind of things. What I will show you at the end is just some behind the scenes work for the games students, which will give you a good idea of the kind of skills you'll be doing on that pathway. But it is under the creative media practice pathway as well, which you do a foundation first part of the year, and then you get to focus on what you're really interested in with the skills that we give you in the second part of the year. Bit of background is what we're doing with this course is we're aligning it to industry, and there's obviously lots of opportunities in the new digital world. Some statistics there for you, and we've got, of course, Media City, where a lot of that is taking place down there, but it is different hubs all around Manchester. As I go through, by the way, you will get an idea of some of the digital content creation that you'll be producing on the course, depending on what your line of interest is. So just make sure you take those in as I go through. So it's designed for those interested in a career in the creative digital industry, very much aligned to that with the industry expectations. You'll get the opportunity to challenge yourself and become a future digital creative. That's what we're aiming for. It's been designed, the course has been designed around holistic, explorative and integrated creative teaching approaches that are conducive to deep learning and professional skills development. That's an example of 3D design that you'll be doing. I do a lot of VR as well, got some VR equipment. It's internally assessed, so some of the other courses there are some external assessments. Don't want to say the word exams, but on this course it is all internally assessed. By that we mean everything is assessed by the tutors during and throughout the course. You're expected to embrace a full range of digital disciplines. That's for both the games pathway and the digital content creation pathway. For at least half the year you'll be doing a little bit of everything, and then you will get the chance to really specialise in your own skill development area, and that's at the end of the first year, but 100% in the second year of the course. As a student progresses, as you progress through the course, you're taught to build on the grounding and fully utilise the many exciting technological developments at the disposal of the contemporary media practitioner. What do we mean by that? Well, things like virtual reality. We've got the equipment and a simulator where you can bring your designs to life, and that's a really cutting edge technology which we're looking to embrace, and the industry is really looking for people with those kind of skills. These are the key areas on the digital content creation course that you'll be focusing on skill wise. Like I say, if you're a games design student, then you will have these will be tweaked a little bit, and you'll be focusing much more on games design, games production, games engines, all those kind of things. And like I say, have a look at the work I show you at the end, and that'll give you a real idea of where the focus is there. Digital content creation, then animation. We'll be looking at stop motion, 2D, 3D animation. In 3D, you'll be doing design and build your own creations. Like I say, virtual reality and motion graphics. Concept art, where you conceptualize your ideas. Lens, photography, moving image, so how to use the camera, location, lighting skills, and sound, a big emphasis on sound design, sound recording. That could be to develop a soundscape for a game, or it could be editing the sound for a moving image fictional film production. But lots of different aspects of sound, and it's really important to get that right. It's not all about, it is called creative media practice. It's not just practical though. There is a level of theory and research that's embedded throughout the course. How does that come into it? Well, you may be asked to look at industry examples of games or short films, and perhaps look at analysing them in terms of audience appeal, audience research, and also looking at some theoretical concepts such as genre, narrative, and that kind of thing. Okay, I really would encourage you to go onto the Trafford College website and locate the art show. You can do it like that. There's the web address, Trafford College. Do a simple Google search. You'll come up on the main page. Go into the news section and just look for the art exhibition and votes invited for best college artwork. Click on that one, and you can go to the show link there, tcgshow.pb.online. You click on that. Lots to look at. There's art sections as well for you to have a look at. There's the digital content creation. I've shown you some of those contents there, but you can have a little play through with some of the work. 3D and animation work is on there. Film production, have a look at that. But games production students, I do definitely recommend you go and have a little look, because there's some excellent behind the scenes videos that you can click on and play and see really what the games students get up to. Right, time to have a go. Over to you. And I think I'll just focus on doing some little theoretical exercises with you, analysing a media production, and in particular a fictional genre film. So get ready. If you need to have a pen or paper to note something down, you can do that, or you can just log it in your mind if you've got a mind that works that way. The first thing I want us to look at is analysing genre. Here's some key terms for you. Genre, that's a type of film. So for example, a horror genre film. You may then get a subgenre. That's a combination of types of films. So let's stick with horror. You might get a supernatural horror, for example. And then you've got the conventions. That's the characteristics which you will always see in a certain type of film. So, for example, religious symbols, if we stick on supernatural horror subgenre, then you might get religious symbols, for example, like a crucifix. You'll see lots of blood, you might have some masks, and you have suspenseful, eerie music as well. Those kind of things, the things that you just could see and you'd say that's a horror film. So the first activity I want you to do is watch the following short fictional film sequence. It's a film sequence that's done by a student this year on the course, so you get to have a little look at maybe some of the practical skills you'll be learning in terms of filming and editing, that kind of thing, and it all needed planning, by the way. You can't just turn up and film. And then what I actually want you to do, though, whilst you're having a little look and enjoying that, is answer some key questions using that theory that I just gave you. I want you to note down or have in your mind what genre is the film. I want you to decide on maybe what subgenre it could be categorized as, and what conventions, characteristics can you pick out that the director has used to identify their genre, their film genre. And that might be visual, it might be sound, that kind of thing. And the brief for these film productions was to produce a short film that was very typical of a genre. So you should be able to see that, and it should be quite straightforward. Okay. Remember, media students don't just watch, they work whilst they're watching, so you can get used to that now. Here it is. This is The Inner Shadow.
What are you? Stay away from me!
Okay then, I hope you enjoyed that. You're not too scared, and hopefully you're paying a bit of attention as well. Remember, media students, they work while they're watching. So what did you come up with? Let's go through it then in terms of the activity. Remember, I want you to just really consider what kind of genre it was. And hopefully you pretty quickly guessed that the genre was horror. You could have subcategorized that as a subgenre. Psychological horror. I'd be impressed if you got that. Obviously the character in there had some kind of mental health issues if you got the narrative. There wasn't really somebody else that was trying to attack him and get him. It was his inner demons, of course. So that would be a psychological horror. What conventions, what characteristics can you pick out the director used to identify their genre? Did you see anything visually or sound wise? Well, there's a couple that I would have thought was reasonably easy to detect. You saw a weapon, there was a knife involved, there was lots of blood, the music was used really effectively, suspenseful music. There was a jump scare when the door was opened and suddenly you saw the character revealed. Hidden face of the character, that's kind of like a mask, isn't it? There's a hooded top, very cleverly hoodie put on back to front to hide the face, but it worked. And also a really crucial one, which was done in the editing, was the distorted effects, the sound and visual effects on there. Okay, activity 1 done. I've got a second activity though for you. So you know all about genre now. Hopefully it's got your mind thinking. If you didn't get everything that I've just picked out there, then hopefully you got a couple of things. The next thing I just wanted us to have a quick look at, it's really important for all the different media subjects, whether it's film production, games production, digital content. You really need to understand representations and audience and how you're trying to target those kind of people. So let's focus on representations then for our activity 2. Okay, so here's some key terms relating to representations. So you've got social status. That might be somebody who's working, it might be a manual worker, an office worker, someone who's unemployed, a student, a business owner. So different kinds of, that might be related to job. Traditionally, we did have class, which was working class, middle class, upper class. And whilst that still exists, we tended to use social status as a bit more of a modern approach to defining that. Age, young or old, obviously. Gender, might be male, female, or other, of course. Ethnicity, culture, race might come into that. Sexuality, heterosexual, LGBTQ+. Geographical location, regional, that might be from the north or from the south. National, UK for example, England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, different nations. And international, rest of the world, America, Russia, different continents, that kind of thing. And one other thing I want you to consider through all those different aspects is whether they are representing the character or thing in a positive or a negative way. That generally is what it falls down to when you're analysing representations. Are they being used to really negatively represent something or show something in a very positive light? Right, let's get back to the clips then. I'm going to play you another short film from the students this year on the film production course for you to analyse representation in. Watch the clip, and it's called The Suspect, and try to pick out at least one positive representation. Okay? You hopefully get some more. I'll give you some that I can pick out after you've watched it, and you can compare it to some of the things that you picked out. Don't have to note things down, just make a mental note, and I'll go through a couple of things that I found.
Today hasn't been very successful. The company is decreasing in the number of CCTV cameras being sold. We might have to cut down on the number of employees to save money.
I don't see how that will help with the company's growth, but I suppose we need the money. Right, we've got to decide who's going to be fired. Any thoughts?
I think we should fire Ely Wood. He's contributed the least since being here, and I think it should be him. Ellie Wood?
Yeah?
Please come up to the offices. We would like to have a serious conversation with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It looks like you're not working up to your potential. That's why I think I'm going to have to let you go.
You're firing me, right?
Yes.
But this is the only job I have, you know?
Hello, this is Officer Elizabeth Cox. I need forensics on this case. I'm around Timperley. We have a dead body. He's a white male and he's 5'10" and ginger.
Well, Mr. Roberts,
Yeah,
I heard that you've been asking for a lawyer.
I have, yeah, that's correct.
That is within your rights. You have a right to not speak without one being present. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions. You don't have to say anything. Where did you go?
I went to the park where the person had told me to go.
Okay, so the phone call told you to go to the park.
Yeah,
And you were at the park.
I was at the park
And when did you find it?
and that's where I saw Lloyd. He was perched up against a tree, dead.
Do you think you know someone who might have done it?
I don't know. Today, all we really did was work and then fire Ellie at the end.
You fired someone.
Yes.
No problems.
Yeah, 2
And
weeks.
what was the reason he was fired for?
Well, if I'm honest, we were losing money, and to save money, we had to cut employees.
So it was a rough decision. Mr. Roberts, I've got everything I need right now. I'm gonna investigate this, but for now, I'm gonna get someone to let you go and just sign some papers on your way out.
Alright.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you. No.
We know Lloyd was found dead at Timberley Park.
We know that Robert was called to go to Timperley Park and we heard a gunshot noise as we arrived to the case.
Robert just told us that Lloyd fired Elwood.
Robert got an unknown phone call to tell him to go to the park and he fired Ellie Wood
Yes.
alongside with Lloyd.
That's all we got for now. I need you to go to the forensics and get me a report. I'm gonna go to Elliot's house and ask him some questions.
Alright.
Alright. Hello, I'm Detective Stephen Adams. I would like to ask you some questions about a murder. Is that okay with you?
Okay, come in.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
Okay.
You used to work with Lloyd and Robert?
I was their employee.
You were an employee? Not anymore?
Yeah, I was. Yesterday they let me off.
Oh, can you tell me the reason why?
That I wasn't putting in the effort I needed to in my job, and that's why I was booted. You know, that's why I was kicked out.
What was your relationship with Lloyd?
I didn't really. I never knew Robert well. I know that he is an associate or a friend or.
Mr. Edward, can you tell me something about Robert?
The forensics.
Whose are they?
Ellie Wood Robbins.
Arrest them, please.
Hands out.
It wasn't me.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed The Suspect there. What genre was it? I hope you picked out that it was a crime genre. Maybe it had a thriller aspect to it as well. But what we really were looking at was the representations that were shown. And you can pretty much, when you look at something, you can always find some kind of representations. Now, this was done by a group of students this year, so it's a modern day young person's view of the world, I suppose you could. But they were trying to meet the genre characteristics of a certain genre, which was crime. So let's just dig a little bit deeper and have a look at some of the representations you may have found. Here's some that I found. So first of all, you might want to consider one representation, which was ethnicity there. Okay, you can see a little screenshot of Detective Stephen Adams. Conventionally, he's identified in the crime genre, of course. He's holding up a badge. Not too sure we do that in the UK, more of an American thing, but there it is. What did we spot then? Well, it's quite a positive representation of a black, Asian, minority ethnic character in a senior position as a detective upholding the law. He's decisive in his actions and without fear confronting the potential criminals. He goes round to their house nonetheless to try and sort things out. He also advises and directs colleagues and motivates them into action as well. So that's positive representation of one of those elements. I just focused on ethnicity. We've also got, I would say, a positive representation of gender in there as well. You've got a female character who is crucial to solving the case, making important contributions to discussions with colleagues. She's decisive in the action scenes in physically apprehending male characters, not once, but twice. You could say stereotypical, yes, it may be, because the male police character is clearly in charge, and you do get lots of females who work in the police force who are in very senior positions. So possibly a very old, traditional, outdated representation there. You could, if you were nitpicking. I would say the use of the police hat stood out a little bit to me. I'm old enough to remember the WPC era, which was pre-millennium, turn of the millennium, whereby what it basically said was women's police constable. So that was identifying women as different in the force, different to their male colleagues, and actually traditionally they took on different tasks in the police force as well. So there was an element to that by having just been identifying the female police officer with a different kind of hat. Now that hat is still used in certain formal occasions, but actually there's no real gender difference in uniform anymore, so that's probably a bit stereotypical. Okay, thanks for watching this short introduction to the creative media courses here at the Trafford College Group. Whatever you're going to study, we look forward to seeing you at the college next year. A couple of things that I'd want you to point you towards for you to go off and have a little look at. Go onto the college website, you should be able to see on your screen now of how to do that, and have a look at the transition project. This will just prepare you quite nicely, maybe give you something to do creative and have a go at that's all related to the course that you'll be studying next year. And something else to point you in the direction of as well, go and have a look at some of the student work from this year, because that's the position that you'll be in this time next year, hopefully having been really creative throughout the year. And whether you're doing games design and production or digital content creation or film production, have a look at the different sections that are on there and some of the student work, and it will give you some idea of some of the things that you could potentially produce next year, and hopefully enjoy having a watch of them too. Thanks for your time, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Goodbye.